Hey, everybody out there. I hope y'all are doing good. I'm doing really good. Haven't put up a video in a long time, and I'm sorry about that. Things have been great. Lots of work. Arkansas Custom Tackle has just been doing great. The tile business that I do is doing great, and I've just been blessed with a lot of everything. Lucy started her tournament season with the high schoolers, and there's just a lot going on, and that's all a good thing. But last night I got the opportunity to, I don't know, some of you may have watched it, but I got the opportunity to be on a live podcast with the Idle Zone Syndicate through the Kansas Bass Nation. And got to get on there and have a great time last night. We talked for 2.5 hours about how good fishing is. Just fishing and the good part of fishing. Just not hardly any negative talk. We didn't talk about any of this hubbub that's going on out there and all the stuff in fishing, that can be such a bleh nowadays. And, there's just so much out there. And fishing is still good. It's real good. And there's still a lot of us that love it. And we just want to see the good side of it. And that's what we talked about last night. And it was fantastic. But during that podcast, I had shared a little story about a trip when I went to the national championship. So the Bass Nation National Championship, I believe it was in 2022. It was down on the Ouachita River at Monroe. And now this is the biggest tournament of my life. And I was doing really well in the tournament, and I was there, and Lucy was there, and it was one of these fantastic trips. It was amazing. It was all you ever dream about, all I'd ever dreamed about. And so we were there, and we was having a great time, and I was catching bass. And I was doing really well in the tournament. I was sitting in 4th place, and top 3 got to go to the Classic. We're going to the final day. Now, all of a sudden, that final day, my guts and my nervousness, and it just started taking me over. And I started getting all stressed out about catching fish. And we head out that day, and I'm jumping around and running around and slinging and throwing and stressing, and maybe I ought to be over here and over there, and you know what I'm talking about. We've all been there. Tournament fishing it all. So here you are at what ought to be the greatest time of your life. Y'all be happier than you've ever been, and you're as unhappy as you've ever been, and you're frustrated and aggravated and you don't know what to think. Well, finally about 11 o'clock that day, and BSS was kind enough back in them days. They provided us with some great sandwiches and food to eat for the day, and I just stopped out in the middle of that river and got my phone out and pulled up the song "Today Is Mine" by Jerry Reed. And if you're old like me, you'll know something about this song, that this was the theme song to Bill Dance Outdoors back in the old days. And it's one of my favorite tunes, and it really grabs a hold of me, and every one of us ought to listen to that song every day. It touches you. So I sit down there and I get my sandwich out and I play that song, and I start thinking to myself, Chris, this is what you've spent your whole life dreaming about. This is what you've always wanted. It's just, and here you are, miserable. I had about 3.5 hours left to fish that day, and I coached myself a little bit while Jerry coached me, actually. And I got it from there. So out there in 30 minutes, I burned 30 minutes of that tournament day just floating in the middle of the river eating a sandwich, listening to Jerry Reed. Then I got it from there, and I thought, I'm just going to go fishing the rest of the day, and I'm going to take it all in. Yeah, I need to take this all in, because this day is not going to happen again. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It may never happen again in my life. And I need to enjoy every last second of it that I have left. So I motored down the river a little bit and pulled in on a bank I really thought I could catch one on. Picked up my favorite crankbait, and right quick I caught a keeper. And I lost a really nice one that could have sent me tail spinning again, but I was like, hey, now I'm getting bites again. Proceeded to catch a limit really quick. Started culling. Got all excited. I mean, like, I got all just wound up, excited that, holy cow, I'm fixing to have a chance at this. I thought if I could catch 10, 11 pounds or more, I would have an opportunity to make that classic. And just got magical for the rest of the day, and came in, and I didn't lose any ground, didn't gain any ground, and I just missed the classic. Came in 4th place and totally satisfied with that finish. It was wonderful. But boy, what a lesson I learned that day. And it's so easy. It's so easy to get frustrated out on the day that you get to do what you've dreamed about doing. And no matter what you're doing, we have to fight not letting that happen. Because it's so easy to do, whether it's fishing or hunting or gardening or whatever, that we don't let the yuck come in and take it away from us and sweep away our moment in time. Today is mine. I'm going to read this to you. I've had this all my life. I've had it since I was about 20 years old. My mother gave this to me. And I don't talk about my mother very often. I always talk about my dad. We fished together all the time, but she was very instrumental in my fishing life and just my life in general. And she gave me this when I was 20 years old, and I still have it right here in this frame. And I'm going to read it to you. We ought to read this every morning and listen to Jerry read and then start our day. I assure you it would change everybody's perspective. So here we go. This day is mine. The value of this day is impossible to measure, for it will never come again. I do not wish to regret its passing. That's deep. Whew, I'm getting a little messed up here. What I do today is up to me and no one else. I can use it to good advantage or squander it away. That choice is mine. I will try to make my day one of success rather than failure, satisfaction rather than frustration, joy rather than pain, laughter rather than tears, contentment rather than worry, and love rather than hate. Folks, we need this in bass fishing right now. We need it in everything. We need it everywhere. And the more of us that'll embrace it, the more others will embrace it, I believe. And maybe, just maybe, we can keep this sport and our world around us in a good spot. I hope y'all have a good evening out there. I hope that touches you. I hope it makes your tomorrow better. We'll catch you next time.